Okay guys, here we are again. Rocky back at you. Back on the Suzuki again. As I said in the last video, I managed to get fire going to my plugs and the bike to start up off of a little bit of fuel that I threw into the intake. So I know the bike will run. Now that was with the bike hardwired so that it had ignition. I do actually have the ignition switch plugged back in and a few other things, so I know if I turn on the ignition switch I've got power. I turn off the ignition switch, I'm killing the power. I do still have my on-off button hardwired, so this is on all the time right now. This will crank off the button. That's by supplying power onto one of my wires down here, one of these wires down here, directly off the battery. And the reason I needed that was because most of my fuses are corroded or popped or something. So I went out and picked up a nice pack of fuses here. So I'm going to replace the fuses in that. Hopefully nothing pops. If something does pop, then I'll know I've got a suspected circuit. Most of my circuits are just connected, as I mentioned before, so if there's a short in any of them, unless it's a wire going directly to ground and then back to the fuse panel, you know, there probably won't be an issue unless we run into a situation like that. And if we do, then I'll have to check that out. Most of this wiring, you know, unless it's chewed by a mouse or squirrel or whatever, should be okay going through the frame because it's well wrapped in the factory tape or whatever they put on it. So there shouldn't be anything shorted out there. But like I said, I'm going to start replacing fuses. I'm going to get all my fuses taken care of. I've got about 6 fuses there, and if none of them pop, then I'm going to pull the, well actually I'm going to pull the wire off down there where I've got it hardwired anyway, just to make sure that, you know, I'm not fooling myself. And I'm pretty certain that I already have that off. I'm going to double check that right now, guys. I'll show you guys too while we're at it. My glasses so I can see what I'm doing. But I was coming directly off the battery with this red wire here, right off the positive, and I was taking the other end of that and I was putting that right on this wire here, which was going directly down and into the CDI box, feeding the CDI box. So what I want to do now, that's off, obviously, and currently I don't have any power. I just hooked this up. It's hooked down there. Now we've got this. Now we've got power everywhere, with exception of the fuse panel. We need to replace some fuses. The ignition key is on, and currently I have no power. Now that's probably because I'll turn the fuse panel or the ignition switch off here real quick. Try to. Nothing quick about it, I guess, because it's one of those switches a little buggered up. But anyway, I did put some oil in it, see the WD-40 in it, see if it would loosen it up. And I think it's just a worn switch. So now I'm going to start replacing these fuses. I'm going to pull out my book, take a quick look to see what amperage those fuses are. I think it says in the book what amperage they are, what they should be. The Suzuki book out here. Like I said, this is not the exact right book, but it's pretty close. You know, it's close enough that it's helped me thus far. So I'll continue to use it. So when I go back here and I look at this, I have my image of my fuse panel right here. And it says we've got 10 amps, 10 amps, 10 amps, a 15 amp, and a 10 amp. So there's 115. Now I've just got to find out if this is oriented the same way, if this is actually from the top down. So I'm not sure. I'm assuming that's from the top down, the way the box is. So I'm going to put fuses in that order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 fuses. We'll go over here, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fuses. So I'm going to put those fuses in one by one, the way that they're supposed to go. And I may do that with the ignition switch on, because if it suddenly pops a fuse when I'm putting it in, I'll see it. That's probably the best way to do that. If I put them all in and then go ahead and turn it on, I mean, it'll pop a fuse, but I won't notice it right off, right? One thing you want to make sure that you got, guys, anytime you go to do any kind of work like this, is the bare essentials. You're going to have you know, a good cup of coffee. Some people would call that a good cup of coffee, but I'm calling it a good cup of coffee because it's the one I got right now. And then you also need to have some of this stuff here too. That really helps a lot. But anyway, now I need something to put my knee on so I don't destroy my pants and all that kind of stuff. I had something here the other day. Now maybe what I'll do is I'll just use the book. I'll just use the book. Why not? Make it serve dual purpose here. Okay, the battery's connected. Turning the ignition switch, like I said, to on. And then I'm going to open up this package of fuses, and I'm going to start one by one. The top one should be a 10 amp fuse. And we're going to go ahead and put the 10 amp fuse in there. Just open this up, see if I can identify a 10 amp fuse in here. I always hate trying to open these blister packs. They're a bit of a pain in the back side. But we'll get her. I know there's a method to it, but I never do it right. So anyway, here we go, we're getting it. Alright, now, what I gotta do is identify which one is an actual 10 amp fuse. And I'm thinking, this guy right here might be my 10 amp. I'll have to get something so I can see a little better, because these things are hard to read. Unless you got good eyesight, which I don't, so we'll double up. Okay, so you guys could probably see right away that says right there, it says 10 amp right on it. So that's 10 amp. So now I know what I'm looking for a 10 amp fuse. So I'm going to pop that right in there, guys, right now. I'll keep an eye on it when I put it in, see what it does. Does it pop or does it not? Okay then, first off, let's just take care of the phone there, buzzing in my pocket, reminding me of something. Okay, so we're going to pop in 10 amp fuse. So far, that looks good. I don't think that one popped. That one seems to be okay. Now let's move on to the next one, which I believe was 10 amp also, but we'll double check it. Where did it go? Right here. That's also 10 amp. That's the second one down. Let's see if we can find another 10 amp down here in the package. I do believe that's 10 amps. We're going to put that 10 amp fuse right in here, but we got to get that one out first. That one's popped, but that could be because I did something stupid, you know. I mean, sometimes I do stupid stuff. Surprise, surprise, eh? So we'll take that one out. We'll see what happens here. Hopefully. That seems to be okay. Don't think that one popped. Okay. Now we'll go see what the next one is. And I think that's going to be a 10 amp as well. Yeah, and the next one below is a 15. I don't have a 15. All I got is a 20. I think all I got is 10s and 20s. Double check. I could be wrong. There could be a 15 in there somewhere. Let's check it out. You guys, give me a second here. I'm going to put you right down here for a minute. Actually, there's a pretty good assortment. This one here is a 30 amp. So I'm guessing if that's a 30 amp, I probably do have a 15 in here somewhere. Let's see if we can find 15 in there. Actually, no, what we want right now is a 10. And then we want a 15, right? So I believe that's 10. I believe I got a 10 here. That's a 20. Yeah, there's a pretty good assortment. I'm looking for 10 amp. Do I have another 10 amp here, guys? That 10 amp's got to go in this guy right here. Push this guy out. Try to. Okay. That's a no good one, so we want to put a 10 amp in there. So hopefully this won't blow. Usually when you touch them, that's when they blow. And this one didn't blow yet, so I think it's alright. Now we're going to the 15. This is the 15 right here, guys. This is supposed to be the 15 right there. Let's see, do we have a 15 in this pile? We have a 32 volt. We got there's a 15. Look at that. Got lucky. Picked up a 15 right away. Well, let's see. Hopefully this won't blow. So far it looks good. Of course, I haven't turned the ignition on yet. So that bottom one is a 10, guys. Let's see if I can find another 10. That's a 25 amp. Wow, I do have quite an assortment in there. Hope that's a 20. Hope I have another 10 in that mess. And that is a 7.5. 7.5 amp. Oh man, I think I'm going to run short on 10s here. Some of them go for lights and stuff. I just need to figure out what they are. Like I don't have any reason to hook the lights up right now. So I could steal that 10 amp out of the lights if that's the case and use it somewhere else. There's a 20. Let's see what we got here. There's a 30 amp. There's a 30 amp. There's a 25 amp. Like I said, there's a good assortment. I thought there was just 10s and 20s in there, but there's a 20 and 7.5. So let's check to see what these circuits are and see which one I can rob. Since I have no lights, I'm not going to need a fuse for lights, right? So let's take a close look at this book and see if we can identify which ones are for lights. If we can identify that, and if it's 10 amp, then we can rob that one. So that's what we're going to try right now. Give me a moment. Go over here and see what we got. Alright guys, I'm going to look at this chart here. Find the fuse panel, which is over over there. I'm in the wrong spot. I want this one over here too, I think. And you flip this. Alright. So where's my fuse panel? Here's my fuse panel right here. Okay, so the 10 amp fuse is going to drive, the top 10 amp fuse is going into the check panel. And, well, let's see, where else does it go? It also goes down to the turn signal switch. It also goes up to, not sure what that is. How many different places does it go? It goes up, across, up, down, and into what appears to be the ignition switch. I think the top one has to be there. Let's see. The next one down, 10 amp, goes out, goes over to the turn signal. It might be turn signal, in which case I might rob it. See, it goes up there, goes up there to the rear brake switch, comes back out of the brake switch, goes over to the front brake switch. Yes, that's brake switch. Don't think I'm going to need that second one down. I might get away with that one. The third one down is, I think, an important one. Yeah, that's the one that gives me fire today. So I want to take the third one down. The second one down, I think I can rob. I think I can take that second one down because it goes to the turn signal switch, goes up to the rear brake switch, goes up to the front brake switch, goes down to the horn, and goes up to the gauges, goes over to oil pressure warning lights, neutral. Yeah, so that's lights. That is the second one down. I'm going to take that second one down. Let's see what's in the bottom. I think this bottom one is important. This one goes to the rectifier. Yeah, so the bottom one is the one that gives me all of my ignition and everything, I do believe. Yeah, it goes over to the switch. So I'm going to have the bottom one. It's got to be a 10 amp. So I'm going to rob this. I'm going to rob the number 2 10 amp. I'm going to rob the number 2 10 amp that we dropped in there because it doesn't have to be there. Pop that guy right out. We can get away without that guy because that's just going for lights and stuff right now. Got to get it out without shorting it or anything. Pop that right out of there. 10 amp. Throw that right in the bottom. Bit of a tight fit. Now let's hope this doesn't. Well, so far no pop. Looks good. Now we just got to hope that when we turn that ignition switch on, all these fuses stay good. Nothing pops. Well, I'm not going to be able to turn the ignition switch on and look at the same time, so I'll let you guys look and watch that while I turn the ignition switch on. You guys get to see what happens before I do, because I'll have to review, unless it's really obvious, I'll have to review my video. Just got to nick with this switch now to get it to turn. It's a pain in the butt. Like I said before, the switch has got a little issue. Let's go over here and use my right hand, which might be a little easier. Give you guys a good view. It means I have less option to look at the fuse panel, which I guess is okay. That's going to be an issue, that switch. I'm going to have to either get a new switch, or I'm going to have to Mickey Mouse something up somewhere else, because that's a real pain. Actually, that switch is on. Sorry, switch is already on. Let's turn that switch off. Oh, the switch is on. Switch was already on, and I forgot that I said I was going to leave the switch on, and I've got my power. So if that's the case, we need to jack 4, crank. Oh crap, we got no crank. No cranky. Okay, we got a problem somewhere. Where is the problem? We know it's not in the switch here because that's hardwired. We got ignition on and we're not getting crank. Okay, so we got to figure out why. I mean, I know I've got good fuses now everywhere, so now I got to check everything that I've unplugged and see if it's dependent upon any of those things that I unplugged. You know, there could be some dependencies there. I could have pulled something off that actually, you know, has something to do with the spark, or not the spark, but the ignition. I got this plug out here. I'm not sure what this is. I might have to, that might be an important one. It might be one that needs to be plugged in order for this thing to fire up. Well, I got to check that out. I just got to figure out where the other end of it is now. Not sure what that is. And there's this blue wire too that I pulled off. I remember there was a blue wire up here that I pulled off, and I don't quite remember what it was for. And then we've got this cluster here, which shouldn't be a problem. Well, I shouldn't say that. I say it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, there's no problem cranking. I'm in neutral, so I should be able to crank it. I know that's for the signal lights. Let's see what we got here. This is plugged back in. That shouldn't be a problem. That's plugged back in. Let's see, what's this guy about here? I forget what that guy is. That guy is the this cluster here, which maybe I should plug back in because that gives me lights to indicate when I've got ignition. There's my blue wire. I'm going to plug this back in, guys, and hope it doesn't blow a fuse. I'm going to put you guys in hold for a second. I'll let you know what I find out here in a minute.